Started. Beautiful cutout ball there, and they're in to start this one. Hotore Papali'i scores first for St. Mary's. 4 points to 0. Down the short side they go. Puts a nice kick through. Does Humphreys chasing through. They get it out the back there, St. Mary's. Can they get it out? No. Bulldogs chases. Out of dummy half. Short ball. Can they crash over? They have, in fact, gone over. St. Mary's, they're over again. We're looking to stem the flow of these St. Mary's tries. Heavy contact in the middle. 2 or 3 or 4 even Bulldogs players committing. And there's the mistake they were after. That was a Pelu. Only a couple of metres out now, St. Mary's. Inside ball again. Nicholas. Ball comes free. Fay. Juggled. Kick on the inside. Ball still going around. Can they get there first? They can indeed. Referee waiting to award it. Defenders who are looking to aim up after conceding for the first time this evening. 10 points to 6. Lead back down to 4. Rauke. Got to watch out for him. This lanky winger of the Bulldogs. It breaks down. Dietrich takes the tackle. O'Donnell out of dummy half. Finds Humphreys again. Puts a nice little kick through. Bouncing around. Regathers. Scores. Beautiful try there from Damon Humphreys. 10 points all. Kick to come. We'll want to be getting a kick on the end of this, and that's exactly what they do through Humphreys. Curl. Picks it up just inside the try line. Good chase down the field by the Dogs, led by the prop forward in Broden Cons. Leading by example as the Bulldogs really... There's a jinking run by Grossamy. A late addition to this team, wasn't originally named earlier in the week. Humphreys gets a nice ball away, does Humphreys. Going down the front is the Dogs. Can they link up? They do. Taken from behind there. Scrambling St. Mary's defence. Matamua beats one. Matamua, does he go over? Matamua, referee is there, and he will award it. Bounce a couple of times there from Walker, who links up with Seni Bua. And he's one guy that you don't want to let get a head up of steam, and Seni Bua finds support back on the inside to Humphreys. To Walker, rather, and he's wrestled to the ground. That's a great run by Seni Bua. And now he's wing counterpart, Rauke. And you wouldn't believe we have a player that is sent off from St. Mary. Any kind of overzealous action from either team as the Bulldogs now go through the hands, go wide. St. Mary's snuffing that out though. Humphreys puts a nice kick through, dives upon, and that is a try. Laumatia up to play the ball. Inside from Humphreys to the try scorer, Laumatia. Out of dummy half they go. Humphreys again. Steps off his left and right. Handy work out of dummy half from Hughes. There's that man in question, Taj Hughes. Ducks under a high one. That's the last though. Humphreys puts it through. Cleaned up eventually there by Crichton, who initially fumbled. St. Mary's scrambling well. 12 men defending their line. Ackers hits and spins. Andrew steps at the line. Still holding on here, St. Mary's. Ackers gets the offload away. Rauke steps off his right, gets the palm out. Hard to handle. He's taken 10 metres short. Bulldogs, first time they've been tested in a while. Over the top they go. Can they get there? Goes over for his second. Hoteri Papali'i through Humphreys. How did he get back there? Senibua doing the dirty work once again. Senibua, well, that's what he loves. And is so often the case. Again, Rauke. Not to be outdone by his wing colleague. Back up the centre of the field. Hughes finds support. In St. Mary's territory now. They're 40 metres away. Cons takes the metres that are shown to him. 8 metres out. Green called for it but didn't get it. Showed his disappointment there. Ended up in the hands of Rafferty Butfield. Gets it now though. Does Green. Puts it on the end of the boot. Can they get there? Does he ground it? Lane. Good contact. That's a hit back there from the Dogs in defence. Great contact there on Runchel. And again, they're there in numbers. Really looking to force the issue here, the Bulldogs. St. Mary's, though, they're not giving up. They want another try, and you sense one may be coming. Hit and spin there from Rafferty Butfield. Green, once again looking for that early 40-20 option, but couldn't quite get the angle. Walker nearly beats the first, does in fact eventually, and then fell to the ground. 35 metres out from his own line. Senibua is that familiar jinking run of his. One of the strongest players in this competition, pound for pound. Ackers with the hidden spin. Out of dummy half, O'Donnell now goes. Takes the yards. 40. Short side, they go. Bonanno fashions a kick. Taken out the back there from the Bulldogs, and away they go. Can they get there? They chase him down. Great chase and great run there from Walker. They're scattered there. Can they get the ball out wide? 6 to go. Hanging on for dear life. Fay. Can he get the ball away? No. Plays it. Good chip through. Is there? Players coming through. Where is the ball? Dived upon by the Bulldogs. And that could be it. Just waiting for a decision.
So that was the round 8 highlights of the Ron Massey Cup between the Dogs and St. Mary's. Really gutsy win by the boys. 30 points to 22. We were 4th going into that game against the ladder leaders who were undefeated before they came to us. Kind of a contrast in teams when you look at the two lineups. St. Mary's have always been bullies in this competition. Their win-loss ratio probably over the last 5 years has been heavily in the wins column rather than the losses. And some of the scores that they've put on teams have been absolute bloodbaths. So it was really good to test ourselves against them now that we're finally becoming a lot more settled in this competition with what we want to do. And some of the players, I think the recruitment-wise, we've done particularly well here. There's a few players there that can easily fill in a New South Wales Cup. And there's also a few players there who have played SG ball and Jersey Flegg, who are just sort of on that brink. And, you know, they could easily be called up into Jersey Flegg, or they may have had a few games in SG ball this year and part of the squad. but really good to see where they're at physically and how they handle it mentally. There's probably it's a lot of focus on discipline in this competition, because you're going to come up against a lot of semi-professional rugby league players who work as well, so they don't put necessarily as much time into training and as what obviously the full-time athletes do. So it can really test your mental capacity playing in these types of games, especially if you're a young kid and haven't had a lot of all-age football. It's a good test, and the club, I think, for them it's a good measure of what the young fellas are like coming through. The average age of some of the St Mary's team, or of the St Mary's team I should say, would be a few years older than the Dogs. Looking at some of the names, they've been around in the competitions for quite a while. They would work during the week, probably in the area around Penrith and St Mary's. They've been in the product of the pathway system at Penrith. Didn't get picked up by another NRL club, but they're able to supplement their income that they work for, in their jobs full time, and still play on the weekends. And because it's been such a strong pathway system, they're decent players. Not for all their players, but for a large portion. Whereas with us, in those first couple of years of getting it back to being a Bulldogs Ron Massey Cup, maybe we just hadn't nailed what we wanted to do in that competition, and we picked up a few players here and there. I don't think there was great recruitment for the right players, especially in a competition which requires a lot of discipline. I think that was a problem in the past, and I thought that was unfair on some of the younger kids that we had coming through that were thrown into that competition. I think now it's a much better, smoother transition for those players because we've recruited better, especially in those guys that are between coming out of the Jersey Flegg age, 22 to 25. We've done really well there. And, with the senior squad all training together, the players who are coming out of SG Ball, their final year of the under-19s competition, and they've been told that they're now in the senior squad, training with the Jersey Flegg squad and the part-time New South Wales Cup, Ron Massey Cup players over the age of 21. It's a really good mix of players. And where in the past, we've thrown a whole bunch of players from one grade into the other, or going from Flegg into Ron Massey Cup, and then the following week they're back. There's not so much that anymore. That doesn't happen. There seems to be, Josh Jackson has an idea of the strongest team that he wants in Jersey Flegg each week. And you've got to work hard to get into that. There'll be an occasion or two where they'll want to bring in an SG Ball age player off the bench to see what they like and what they can, and if they can handle it. And that might be due to some players being injured in the Jersey Flegg squad. And then, there's the players who are the core players in the Ron Massey Cup team. They're going to be there every week, and then we just fill those players around with the younger guys between the ages of 19 and 21. There'll be different reasons why they want to give some players a run one week and then other players a run the following week. I noticed there's been quite a few fullbacks and quite a few dummy halves in that team, and that's probably just to get a good idea of where they're at physically and mentally. So it's a really good test. So anyway, back to the round 8 game. Very, very wet conditions. A lot of rain in the first half. Game was heavily dependent on the halfbacks' kicking game and field position. St Mary's is Zach Green and the Bulldogs is Damon Humphreys. Really good battle there. There was some nice short kicks, as Damon Humphries has been doing all season, that have led to tries, including 2 for himself, which got us to the front 12-10. First was off a deflection, and then the second was a nice little kick in behind the line that showed good skill in the wet. Very gathered and scored. In the second half, he did the same. Put a nice kick in, and Elijah Lamarchia, SG ball forward, another one, picked it up and scored. And there was a Leif Dietrich similar one to the deflection in the first half, where he was just on the spot, pounced on the ball, and that won us the game, got us ahead by 8 points with only a couple of minutes left. In the lead up to that, there was a really good line break from Zane Walker, the fullback. Got us in good field position and really set up that last winning try. Looking at the team overall, I thought the 2 wingers were once again great, coming out of yardage, plenty of post contact. Jobe Roque and Michaeli Senabua made plenty of metres. The front rowers, Broden Cons was probably our best. Some of the defence he had in the first half, jolting balls loose, giving us possession. When it wasn't a great start, we were down early, 10-0, after about 10 or 12 minutes. But he got us back into the game with some of his defence. And then, his carries as well. He's a hard guy to put down. He's very fit, gets a quick play of the ball. Sometimes takes a couple of hit-ups each set. Matamua as well. He was strong in that department. Angus Fay. And Lewis Grossamy on the edge. He never has a bad game. No matter what grade he's playing, his minimum is like a 7 out of 10 each week. Very consistent. Allows players around him to excel as well. You just need guys like him in your team. Riakas came on, I think, early in the second half, and he brings a little bit of X factor. When some of the starting forwards are off, he'll pick up where they left off, but he can break a tackle. He's got a bit of strength and power about him. Can push an offload or two, and he did that, attacking the line a couple of times. I really like the work that he's doing, and he's probably building up his minutes because he had a long injury layoff, so it's about gradually building his minutes up, but I like what I see from him. Signed him from St George. Still eligible for Jersey Flegg. And interestingly, we went with 3 dummy halves in this game. Daniel O'Donnell started the game pretty well. Made a nice run out of dummy half in the second half. And it takes a lot of right options, I believe. Eyes up. Good player to have in this team. And they had Taj Hughes, who came on as well later in the game. In the first half, I think he came on, and maybe a bit in the second half. But he got us going forward as well. Quite nippy at a dummy half. Running game. And Lasati Faoso also got some minutes. Another SG ball player. So good to see him get some time. There's a lot of focus on just doing the processes right in this team. They don't push the ball a lot. It was probably more conducive to the conditions in that particular game, but they don't, there's a lot of thought behind the way they play and the discipline. Simple sets, kick deep, chase, defend in a line, and a lot of that comes off the back of Damon Humphries, the halfback. He's been really good this year. I thought we struggled in that position last year with one particular guy. And for this kid, he's only 19, I think. Well, 19 this year. He's taken it on board and he's leading this team. Really, really good to see. He started the year in SG ball. and I think after 2 or 3 rounds, he was dropped. There seemed to be a bit of confusion around who was going to be fullback, 6 and 7. So there was, some experimenting going on. And then David Bryantton didn't end up playing anymore. So it was, frustrating for him. I think defensively he's very solid and has a big boot and a very good goal kicker. On to this week, in round 9, we travel to Parker Street, Penrith, and play Penrith Brothers. They're currently 5th, and we sit in 4th still. And they had a good win over Hills Bulls last week, 40-10. So both teams coming off wins. So, interesting matchup. We'll see how they go. Good luck to the team, and continue the good form, boys.
Bulldogs go high through Tiapa. Coming back in time, a juggle by Sako, and a big shoulder. First tackle of the game for the Bulldogs, and it's a big... The Storm looking to make their mark. Inside ball. Tuariki couldn't quite break. No score between the Bulldogs and the Storm. Tuariki being driven back by the Bulldogs. Some really intense about their game. Balls come out, and it's a knock on. 5 metres away, the Bulldogs closing. Patterson bouncing off tackle to the Yotta. He's going to go close and gets within a metre. Patterson, Tialpa through hands. Ruben, the step, the footwork, the try. The Bulldogs their first of the day. Fires a pass to Howarth. Swiveling and held. Floro. Last play for the Storm. Stutt is out there. Brannock off legs, picked up, and off goes Jaden Smith. Maybe doesn't have the pace. Melbourne circling and take the back rower. Ball's popped out, and a penalty for the Bulldogs. The Bulldogs will love this. Ruben scoots from dummy half, getting in low. Does the ball hit the line? Matter of inches away for the halfback. Tiapa won't stop trying, cut out ball. Iakopo stepping inside and finishes the job. They've only... All that worked out okay eventually. Nassar. Legs tackle from Howarth. Fine Fale running straight back at that gap. Fale. The interchange players made a real impact since coming on. Raymond Puru's out there as well. From Palm Beach, Currumbin, up in Queensland. One they've got big raps on too. Trying to slice through the middle. Tialpa. Offload. And Puru has the ball. So the Bulldogs looking to go coast to coast. Kick in behind. Tialpa bounces over the head. Nassar couldn't claim it. Fing frees the scrum. Ruben. Tialpa. They're all involved. Puru in the corner. Putting it down. If the referee likes the put down, it'll be a Bulldogs try. Fiercely. Strikes it well. Hooking around. And through the middle. That's a... Bulldogs win the scrum through Nassar. A fend running across field looking for support. Michael Nassar. Able to win his play the ball too. Good start to the set. Puru. Comes out of dummy half. Getting to his feet quickly. Ruben's moved into that dummy half roll. Through hands. Tialpa. Fale has support. Fing getting back on the inside and runs to the try line. He can't stop scoring, Latrell Fing. Ryan onto the field in jersey 17. Stutt. 2 passes wide. Now back against the grain, but good tackle. The tap. Ruben. Burns. Mifsud. Gets to within 10. Those post-contact meters from Mifsud were good. Ruben from dummy half. Finds Tialpa. Carrying Jaden Smith. Can he get to the ground? He can. The referees like it. And the Bulldogs. Tialpa. Finds Fing. A dummy. The fan. There he is. Latrell Fing. A double for him. Individual brilliance. By Tialpa. Back again comes Patterson. Of course, it's important to note as well, the Melbourne Storm, 12 of these players were from their SG Ball squad earlier this year. They had a good season, and they've been pushed up to Jersey Flegg. Strong run from Farley, fending off Brannock. Rubin straight through the heart of the defence. Bronson Rubin's got support outside him. Tiapa, good recovery and scramble from the Storm, but the job's not done. The Bulldogs want to move quickly. Rubin, Puru gets involved. Ball back on the inside for Mifsud. Try time for Lachlan Mifsud. And up on the Sunshine Coast. Haywood follows suit, the winger. And with 3 plays, the Bulldogs are almost on the 40. Tristan Burns advances the course forward. Fine Fale trying to break through the Melbourne Storm, carrying players over halfway. Rubin from dummy half. Strong charge. Liotta's back. And he's keen to finish what he started. Last play for the Bulldogs. 70-metre gain from that set. High kick from Tiapa. Bulldogs tap that one back. Melbourne advantageous in getting the ball back. Stringer. One-on-one steal. Feeds a scrum. Murga, the most dangerous Storm player out there. The fullback we saw early on in the game. A line break for him. Rushing out. Good contact from Burns. Will stop the Storm player in his tracks. Tuariki spinning in the tackle, which lands on the ground courtesy of 3 Bulldog players. Hammond. Murga jamming in and making it count. Haywood. Kick forward by the Bulldogs. Bulldogs are on 40. They want more to be ruthless. Puru, Chong Ni, Haywood stepping inside, breaking tackles and scoring the try. The winger, he's had a great last minute. Quick out of dummy half, Patterson. Loved what he saw, then he slipped over. Inside the opposition 20. Bulldogs going to work again. Tiapa running right to the line. Puru with that left arm fend. How did he get that pass away? Haywood gets his hat-trick. A fantastic finisher. And the Bulldogs do get 50. Ball tipped on. Pole through the first line of the fence using his footwork. Suli Pole. The Bulldogs are scrambling. Melbourne, can they get their first and only try? Brannock through hands. There it is it? No. The Bulldogs coming in waves. Can he get the ball to the ground? Far as halfway. Cliff at dummy half. What's the prop doing there? Chong Ni sliding through his thing, coming to the fullback. Got support in Puru. Puts on the afterburners and signs off with a try. It's been that interchange of passing.
So that brings us to this round 12 Jersey Flegg game. Now the Bulldogs played the Storm. The Bulldogs were in 5th at the time and the Storm were in 12th. We actually had quite a few players missing that were there from the start of the season. Some have been missing for a few weeks, some a little bit longer. Guys like Eamon Fitzgibbon, Hamish Wilson, Patrick Carey, Bailey Myers, Sesefo Finau, Finau Latu, who's gone back up into New South Wales Cup, Patrick Young, who's also in New South Wales Cup the last few weeks, as is Sisiah Alatini. And Bud Smith was not playing in this game, but apparently he's back this week. The captain, Bud. So captaincy honours, I think, went to Joseph Tiapa, I'm pretty sure. So this has really opened up the opportunity, not only this week, but in the last few weeks, for a few players who were in that SG Ball squad that have been elevated into the senior squad since SG Ball finished. And guys like Tristan Burns, who starts at lock in place of Bud Smith in this game. Finney Farley, who's on the bench. And Azariah Toki Moteri, another one from SG Ball. And Raymond Peru returns off the bench. So let's look at the game. Early on, the Storm had quite a fair bit of possession and good field position. So the Dogs were called upon to do some scramble defence online, which they handled very well. Hooker Kaylin Patterson getting on the front foot with quick play the balls and scheming out a dummy half, trying to catch the opposition offside. Was quite effective. And himself and Jaden Smith forced an error with their defence, but it wasn't until the 18th minute when the Dogs were awarded a penalty for a strip on Sheldon Haywood. And after some good forward carries, 5'8" Bronson Rubin, using footwork, attacking the line, sliced through and scored for our first try. Second rower Jaden Smith, a product of the Sunshine Coast that was brought down a few years ago. Now over his injuries, he was taking some nice angled line runs, but also very solid in defence. And the Dogs were back on the attack after the Storm had a player sent to the sin bin for lying in the ruck. And Joseph Tiapa put centre Marcellus Iacopo over to score, and the game was now 12-0 after 35 minutes. So I think it was just after this try was scored that we brought on Raymond Peru and Finney Farley. So it caused a bit of a reshuffle, with Carlin Patterson coming off for a break. Bronson Rubin went to dummy half. Latrell Fing went to the halves. And Raymond Peru was at fullback. And with Finney Farley coming on, Chase Patterson went to the middle. And Farley was on his edge. Our third try came off a scrum, with Sheldon Haywood in the corner for his first try of the day. And Bronson Rubin backing that up, nailing the kick from the sideline. Made it 18-0. Then not long after, we were in for our fourth try. A beautiful team try. It went through Lachlan Mifsud's hands to Joseph Tiapa, who took it to the line, gave it to Finney Farley, who offloaded in traffic to a flying Latrell Fing to score. And that made it 24-0 at the break. Beautiful team try. Good hands, good offload, well supported. Just pure magic to see. The second half started with a melee after Chong Ni was hit in a tackle and the team rushed to his defence, which I really love to see. Sticking up for each other, getting in there. No punches thrown, obviously, but you just love to see players sticking up for their teammates. Just shows a real closeness between the team and camaraderie, and we won't get stood over if one of our team gets into a little bit of trouble. We're going to rush to his aid and stick up for him. Love it. Jaden Smith starts the try scoring in the second half, running off a Joseph Tiapa pass, and he's in on his edge. Latrell Fing gets his second with a show and go, slicing through the line with sheer acceleration. Not even 2 minutes later, Finney Farley takes a strong carry and a quick play the ball, and off that, Bronson Rubin makes a line break straight through the middle. Next play downfield, Lachlan Mifsud crashes over off a Ray Peru pass. One thing I am noticing is Bronson Rubin's quick service and crispness with his passing out of dummy half. Not something that he's normally accustomed to, but he has done it in the past, and he's doing a very good job of it in this game. From there, what ensues is some open and enterprising play with the likes of Nassar and Tiapa and Peru, cutting them to shreds with incisive runs. And Joseph Tiapa, after some time in New South Wales Cup, was displaying spades of confidence with a show and go, and Haywood had his hat-trick. What would have pleased coach Josh Jackson no end was the effort to hold the opposition up over the line with only a couple minutes left. There was no way that this team was willing to concede any points. Then the game ended with one final try. Centre Alvin Chong Ni was running infield looking for runners. Well, he found one. He found one in Latrell Fing, straight through the middle. Pure speed. But he had to look for support, and the support that he usually provides, he found in Ray Peru backing up inside. Passed it to Peru, who ran good part of 40 metres, and he was in under the post. The ball was given to prop David Leota, who started the game very strongly, and he nailed the conversion from in front, with the end score being 56-0. Compiling the highlights of this game was a challenge. There was just so much you could have put 60 minutes of the game, and it wouldn't have looked out of place on a highlight reel. It was just a joy to watch from start to finish. And ironically, we didn't get our first try till about the 18th, 19th minute, and then continued with another 9 tries. It's impossible to pick a best player in this game for us. I just thought there were so many strong performances. I could run through the team and praise all of them for a number of things that they did in this game. Coach Josh Jackson would be over the moon with how this team is performing at the moment. And as an example, Alvin Chong Ni, who I thought started the season a little bit slow, well, not slow as in slow, but, just wasn't quite at the mark at the beginning, but he went back to Ron Massey Cup, and this is, part of the process of having that Ron Massey Cup team there, and he's gone back there, and he's found some form, and he's come back into the Jersey Flegg team because there's a couple of injuries in the outside backs. And I thought even in the Roosters game before this one, he was very strong. Good leg drive, his strong carry. He showed a little bit of ball skill in this game. Tough. He got nailed in a tackle that I mentioned earlier, and he got up and he wanted to take the hit up straight at the player that put the hit on. Really good signs. Good show of character. And that's exactly the type of players we want. Tristan Burns, I thought he had a very good season in SG ball, but he's come into Jersey Flegg, and I reckon he's gone to another level. He's handled it beautifully. The work rate that he's getting through, he played a large part of this game starting at lock, taking a couple of carries a set. Defensively, can ball play as well. He's a good size. He's put on a bit of size over the last few years, because I remember him being in the Harold Matts team, and he was a wiry kid coming off the bench, but he was very tough. I could see it in those games. And he's put some size on since then, and now he's not only got those ball skills that he had back then, but he can take a good hit and a good carry. Really good to see Tristan Burns doing well in Jersey Flegg. Finney Farley, another from the SG ball. I noticed he's got a start this week in the team. The team will come up shortly against the West Tigers, and he has been a force. When he came on in this game, he was destructive. He was hard to handle. His opposition couldn't get the better of him. You could see it. Struggled. And this is only his second or third game in Jersey Flegg. Really, really strong signs here for what we've got coming through in our pathways. Latrell Fing, Bronson Rubin continue their great form. They've been great all season. Carlin Patterson, very strong out of dummy half to start the game. Came back on again later. Had some time in Ron Massey Cup. He's handling every grade. And he'd be 19 this year, so technically he's got a couple of years of Flegg. But he is definitely up there with the dummy halves that we've got coming through. He'd be right near the top. And, there's a couple of players who were playing dummy half at the start of the season, and they're, for one reason or another, they're out at the moment or up in New South Wales Cup. Patrick Young and Bailey Myers, who are both adaptable and can play other positions as well. So, there's plenty of options there. You'd imagine Bailey Myers is going to come straight back into this team when he's back from injury. and that's going to cause a little bit of a reshuffle. But it's, as I said before, it's a good problem to have. As they say, iron sharpens iron. Prop David Leona started the game very strongly. Hard to handle. Broke a few tackles. Went flat out to start the game and then come back on later. Showing a bit of fire in the belly as well. I like it. It's good to see him getting, some games back to back, because he has had his injury problems over the last couple of years, but we're starting to see the best of David Leota. Jaden Smith, bit of an unsung hero. Totally surprised me the way he's come back from his injury. He's been fantastic in Jersey Flegg. Really good work rate. Runs good lines. Chase Patterson, whether he's playing middle or edge, probably more suited in the middle. Can pop an offload, can bounce off tackles. He's a full energy type player. Like, he goes 100 miles an hour, a bit like Bud Smith. But he's got a little bit of footwork in him as well, whereas Bud's more of a hard, straight running type. Looks for quick play the balls, and the backs get on the back of that. Chase Patterson, there's a bit more ball playing variety in his game. Contrasting styles to Bud Smith, but it's good to see Chase being able to cover the edge as well, with a couple of players missing there at the moment. And there'll be players that will come back into this team, and it's just going to make competitions for spots really healthy. And, there'll probably be players who will end up playing in Ron Massey Cup, and that's going to help the Ron Massey Cup team as well, as they're going quite well themselves. Players just have to keep performing. So this week they're at Lidcombe, and they've got the West Tigers in round 13. So good luck to the boys. I don't think I'll be able to make it to the game, but I'll be watching on Bar TV, because I have to go to work Sunday afternoon, unfortunately. But looking forward to that one. It's a top 5 clash. The Tigers are going pretty good themselves. That top 5 is quite nestled in now. There's top 5, I think it might be top 6. They're all quite close together, and points differential is crucial. So a big win like we had last week certainly helps our place on the ladder. So I'll leave it there for this week. It was really good to have a close look at Ron Massey Cup and Jersey Flegg and compile the highlights and put them up, as I noticed New South Wales Rugby League still has not been doing that, particularly in Jersey Flegg, which they have in the past. It's a bit frustrating and takes a bit of time, so I apologise for getting this YouTube up a little bit late for those that do watch it. And lastly, I got a screenshot coming up of a question I asked Jersey Flegg winger Michael Nassar, just on his experience in playing in Jersey Flegg in Fiji a few weeks ago. Just wanted a little exercise to do and get a player's perspective with the experience in Fiji, and maybe look at doing something like that in future with a few players. It was good, and appreciate the response. Thanks, mate, and good luck for the rest of the season. That'll do. I'm off. Eddo, the Oracle, signing out. Have a great weekend, guys. Bye.
Say you like the wind blowing through your hair. Well, come on, roll with me till the sun goes down.